An effective management review operates on a planned, periodic cadence. It is not a one-time meeting, but a recurring governance rhythm that aligns with business cycles, fiscal planning, and the organization's risk horizon. Top management must take ownership of this process, ensuring that the review occurs at defined intervals and follows a documented agenda. Attendance should include a quorum of decision-makers, executives, risk owners, and representatives of critical functions, such as IT, compliance, and operations. The review's agenda must be structured and repeatable, ensuring continuity across cycles while allowing room for emerging risks or opportunities. By maintaining this cadence, leadership demonstrates commitment and ensures the ISMS remains a living, responsive management system. The inputs to the management review are prescribed explicitly in ISO 27001 and serve as the foundation for evidence-based discussion. These include results from internal audits, performance metrics from Clause 9.1, and updates on the progress of ISMS objectives. Nonconformities, corrective actions, and their current status are examined to verify that issues are being closed effectively. Changes in the organization's internal or external context, such as new regulations, technologies, or business expansions, are also considered. Leadership must assess whether risks and opportunities have shifted and whether resources remain adequate to manage them. Feedback from interested parties, including customers, regulators, or employees, provides additional perspective on system performance. When all these inputs are brought together, the review becomes a single point of truth for assessing ISMS health. Preparation is what transforms management review from a routine meeting into a strategic decision forum. The most effective organizations curate dashboards and evidence packets tailored to leadership audiences, summarizing trends, risks, and exceptions rather than raw data. Pre-read materials should include metric trends with clear risk linkage, audit highlights, and open action logs showing ownership and deadlines. Deviations from targets or unresolved issues should be called out clearly, along with proposed options for management decisions. A disciplined pre-read process allows leaders to come prepared, making the review more efficient and focused on strategic outcomes rather than reactive data interpretation. Every minute spent on preparation multiplies the value of the actual meeting. The management review meeting itself must be conducted with structure and purpose. The facilitator confirms the agenda, scope, and time boundaries before proceeding. Discussions begin with a review of ISMS performance against objectives, examining metrics, audit summaries, and trends from monitoring. Leadership then evaluates whether the residual risk posture remains within the organization's tolerance and whether any emerging risks require mitigation or control changes. Resource adequacy, competence, and stakeholder feedback are also discussed. Decisions and actions are documented in real time, with owners and deadlines assigned. The goal is not to merely acknowledge findings, but to make tangible governance decisions that will shape the ISMS's next phase. The outputs of the management review must be actionable and traceable. These include decisions to adjust ISMS scope, update policies, or reprioritize objectives. Leadership may approve new initiatives, defer non-essential projects, or allocate additional resources where deficiencies exist. The management review can also reaffirm that the ISMS remains suitable and adequate in its current form. All decisions must be recorded, with follow-up reviews scheduled to track progress. These outputs provide the link between strategic oversight and operational improvement, ensuring that leadership's intent translates into measurable change. A strong record of management reviews also serves as compelling evidence during certification audits, demonstrating sustained engagement from top management. Integration between management review, objectives, and risk management is critical for maintaining a coherent system. Every decision made in the review should trace back to the risk register and the objectives defined under Clause 6.2. If new risks or opportunities are identified, they must be documented and assigned owners for treatment or exploitation. The Statement of Applicability should be revisited to ensure that control sets still align with the organization's current context and priorities. Thresholds and targets for key indicators may need recalibration based on lessons learned or performance trends. This closed-loop integration guarantees that the ISMS evolves as an interconnected system, with leadership decisions driving alignment from top-level strategy down to operational execution. Performance evaluation within management review must go beyond raw data to focus on interpretation of trends and systemic patterns. Leading and lagging indicators should be contrasted to differentiate early warnings from historical outcomes. Leadership must distinguish isolated events, such as a one-time incident, from systemic weaknesses that signal deeper process issues. Supplier and dependency performance should be reviewed alongside internal metrics, ensuring that third-party risks remain visible. The effectiveness of awareness and training programs should also be discussed, since human behavior remains a critical determinant of security posture. Through this analytical approach, management turns information into foresight, ensuring that the ISMS continuously anticipates rather than merely reacts. A vital component of management review is confirming that the ISMS remains adequately resourced and adaptable to change. Organizational shifts, such as new leadership, acquisitions, or technology transformations, may introduce fresh challenges or capacity constraints. Legal, regulatory, and contractual updates must also be incorporated into the system's planning. Leadership should evaluate whether competence gaps exist, whether staff workloads are sustainable, and whether new tools or automation investments are required. Business continuity and contingency preparedness should be reviewed to ensure readiness for disruption. When management treats resourcing and adaptability as ongoing governance responsibilities, the ISMS remains resilient, responsive, and capable of sustaining continual compliance. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Clause 10 builds on the insights gathered during management review by focusing on what happens when the system does not perform as intended or when opportunities for enhancement are discovered. It begins with the concept of nonconformity, defined as any failure to meet ISO 27001 requirements, internal policies, or established procedures. Nonconformities can arise from within the organization or through suppliers and outsourced partners whose processes fall within IMSS scope. They can affect either the design of controls, where a required safeguard is missing or incomplete, or their operating effectiveness, where a control exists but fails in practice. Each deviation must be viewed through the lens of risk, as its potential impact determines the urgency and depth of corrective action. Detection of nonconformities can occur through multiple channels. Internal audits, monitoring, and routine operational checks are primary sources, but management reviews, customer feedback, and complaints also reveal issues. Supplier audits or surveillance certifications may surface third-party deviations, and sometimes the most valuable insights come from self-reports by employees or observations from frontline teams. The ISMS thrives on transparency. Every participant should feel empowered to escalate suspected nonconformities without fear of reprisal. A robust reporting culture ensures that weaknesses are identified early before they evolve into incidents or certification findings. Once identified, each nonconformity must follow a structured corrective action workflow. The process begins with immediate containment or correction, steps that restore compliance or reduce risk temporarily. This is followed by a detailed cause analysis to uncover underlying contributors. The organization must evaluate the risk associated with the finding, decide on the appropriate level of response, and develop a corrective action plan. That plan includes assigned owners, defined timelines, required resources, and expected outcomes. Progress must be tracked until closure, and verification of effectiveness is mandatory to confirm that the problem will not recur. The entire process must be documented, creating a transparent trail from discovery to resolution. Effective remediation depends on root cause analysis, which seeks to understand not just what failed, but why it failed. Techniques such as the 5 whys, fishbone, Ishikawa diagrams, or barrier analysis can help trace issues through layers of process, technology, and human behavior. When examining control failures, it is important to consider whether weaknesses stemmed from design flaws, poor execution, lack of resources, or cultural factors such as insufficient awareness. Documenting these hypotheses with supporting evidence ensures that improvements address the real causes rather than surface symptoms. This methodical approach transforms nonconformities from administrative tasks into opportunities for systemic learning. Understanding the difference between correction and corrective action is essential. A correction restores immediate compliance, reapplying a patch, updating a configuration, or completing overdue training. A corrective action, however, addresses the root cause to prevent recurrence, perhaps by automating patch verification, redesigning workflows, or adding new checkpoints to the training process. Once corrective actions are complete, the organization reassesses residual risk and determines whether the mitigation remains adequate. Closure criteria must be clearly defined and approved by management, ensuring that completion means not just fixed, but proven effective. This distinction elevates the ISMS from reactive response to sustained improvement. Continual improvement is the forward-looking complement to corrective action. Clause 10 encourages organizations to build a structured improvement mechanism where ideas for enhancement flow naturally from audits, management reviews, incidents, and performance analysis. These ideas should form a prioritized backlog, with each potential improvement scored for value and effort. Small changes, like refining awareness content or tightening documentation, can deliver quick wins, while larger initiatives, such as automation or process redesign, may require pilot testing before full deployment. Success metrics should confirm that each implemented improvement delivers measurable and lasting benefit. Continual improvement is not just about fixing problems, it is about evolving the ISMS in step with technology, threat, and business change. Selecting and prioritizing improvement initiatives requires balance. Leadership must weigh risk reduction against business value, ensuring that changes support both security and organizational strategy. Regulatory requirements or contractual obligations may drive certain initiatives to the top of the list, while others compete based on resource availability or projected impact. Improvements should align with the organization's long-term security roadmap, avoiding fragmented or reactive projects. The decision-making process itself becomes part of the IMSS maturity. When improvement priorities are data-driven and documented, the organization demonstrates strategic foresight rather than opportunistic reaction. Embedding lessons learned into daily operations ensures that improvements endure. Updated procedures, revised training, and enhanced automation must all reflect new insights. Measurement plans and thresholds may require adjustment to capture the effectiveness of the new controls. The Statement of Applicability and Risk Register should be refreshed to align with the updated control landscape. Communication plays a vital role here. Internal teams must understand what has changed and why, while external stakeholders, such as auditors or partners, should receive updates that maintain transparency and trust. Integrating these lessons ensures that improvement is not an isolated project, but an embedded characteristic of the ISMS's culture. From an auditor's perspective, clauses 9.3 and 10 represent the organization's maturity in turning information into improvement. They look for traceability from management review inputs, such as audit results or performance metrics, to decisions, actions, and outcomes. Nonconformities must close on time, with evidence that root causes were analyzed and solutions verified for effectiveness. Documentation should show a logical chain linking governance decisions to measurable improvements in the ISMS. More subtly, auditors assess whether the organization demonstrates a genuine culture of learning, where findings are welcomed as catalysts for progress, not treated as compliance burdens. This mindset is what separates a compliant ISMS from a continuously improving one. When executed with discipline, clauses 9.3 and 10 form the self-renewing engine of the ISMS. Management review provides leadership with a panoramic view of performance, risk, and opportunity. Clause 10 ensures that every weakness becomes a learning opportunity and that every improvement strengthens the system for the future. Together, they ensure that the ISMS remains effective, relevant, and resilient in a world of constant change. Documented actions, verified outcomes, and transparent communication create an auditable record of progress, proof that the organization not only meets ISO 27001 requirements, but also lives its principles. This continual improvement cycle ensures that the ISMS does not merely endure, it evolves, growing stronger, smarter, and more integrated into the organization's success story.